Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Ashers, and this is
Pet O.
Pat. Oh, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. We had date night on Friday, which
Ooh,
is, yeah, I know it's a rarity when you get to be this age. And originally we were going to go to a show at Second City downtown, but being a married couple in our early 40s, we had absolutely no idea that Lollapalooza was happening in downtown Chicago this weekend. So we booked this, we booked this like romantic night downtown, and then as it drew closer, we realized that we booked it during Lollapalooza weekend. So during that weekend in Chicago, it becomes an absolute shit fest, and like hundreds of thousands of people everywhere, bunch of teenage girls and Daisy Dukes on drugs. The hotels are crowded, the restaurants are crowded. Lyft is on surge pricing the whole fucking time. So originally we're gonna go, like I said, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go to dinner and go to a comedy show. And we opted instead to just stay in the hotel room, order Kuma's, which is my favorite burger place here in Chicago, um, eat some edibles, and watch Jurassic World Dominion.
what?
which which I is now my second time seeing it and her first. And I gotta say, we had a pretty fucking good time. We probably laughed more at that movie than we would have if we had actually gone to the comedy club. It was it was a whole new experience watching it, knowing that it was going to suck,
Yeah,
knowing like not having your expectations drop to the fucking floor, and also being, expectations were way down, but everything else was really fucking high. And yeah, man, we had a really good time. Like that whole the whole like dinosaur flea market scene
yeah.
in Malta,
What the
which
fuck is going on during all that? You
it
know?
looks so cheap.
Yeah,
You could tell they used animatronics for a lot of it, which was kind of cool. But like things either looked cheap or like Indiana Jones or like Star Wars. Like when they're in that Air Force pilot, the new character, when they're in like the cockpit of her plane, like it is framed exactly like the Millennium Falcon. Like there's so much stuff. Alan Grant in the tunnels with the Demetrians or whatever, and his hat and everything. Like there's just so many nods to like Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Uh, I don't know. It was neat watching it again, and it really reminded me of the first time I saw Jurassic World, where like I remember walking out of that theater for the first time and being like, "Was that a bad movie? I think it was a bad movie." And having to go back and see it with my kid a couple, like the next time I had custody, because I'm share custody, going back and seeing it with him and liking it more the second time with him because he enjoyed it, and the pressure was taken off, I guess, and you could just kind of watch it for what it was.
right.
So I know like a couple episodes ago we totally shit on Jurassic World Dominion, and you were very disappointed. The hand stuff is even more ridiculous, though. Chris Pratt holding his hand up to
Oh
random
yeah.
dinosaurs that he's never met before. It becomes like a do a shot every time he does this thing. Although I don't recommend you turn Jurassic World into a drinking game like that because you will fucking die.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
constantly raising his outstretched hand to everything he comes across, and somehow it works. But
Wasn't the girl do it too at some point?
oh, it gets
And,
contagious.
and Alan Grant, they all fucking do it at
He
some point.
teaches everyone the trick. Yeah,
Oh my god! And all it is, all the trick is just to raise your fucking hand.
I
That's it.
guess. Yeah, that's how it works.
So if you ever
It's
come across a dinosaur in the wild, you know that you can just raise your hand to it and it won't eat you.
especially at the dinosaur swaporama. Jesus, like the fucking Compton swap meet of dinosaurs. Uh that was so fucking, it's crazy. I honestly have like a newfound respect for that movie. And we couldn't rent it, like we had to buy it for like 1999, so now
Oh
we
my
own it like
god!
digitally, which I told my kid anytime you want to watch it, let me know. We'll watch that fucking thing again. And I'll just
I would not never have bought that movie.
when you
Not
have
for,
when you have
not for
you do have a kid
19.99, maybe for $1.99 at a fucking like a used
at,
movie
at,
store.
at the swap meet
Yeah,
at the
that's
flea
not
market.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a box of other movies, I just so happened to acquire it. But then I'd be like, "Damn it, Jurassic fucking World Dominion!"
Uh,
I'd be so disappointed. Like, really?
that was pretty much it for my weekend. I spent a lot of time working on stuff like the show, the Patreon episodes we got coming up, the 48
Sure.
hour film project, which is chugging along very nicely. Got what sent out probably the last pair of slides to friend of the show Cassie. She should be getting those
Are you
soon.
supposed to be name dropping people when you're buying them the slides because it's going to be their feet in this calendar?
I mean, I don't know if I guess. I mean, should we talk about some of the people on there? Like,
No.
no, okay. I don't know if it's
No.
supposed to be anonymous. We'll bleep her name if you want. I don't know. I'm not trying to out her or anything, but
I don't think Cassie's going to mind, but
yeah.
um,
But we're pretty good. I got a lot of pictures. I know. I think like I know like Drew's probably gonna want me to mention him so that he can get publicity
oh
for
my
his
God. You stop
stuff.
name dropping people. Ask them first.
Okay, sorry.
Shut up. How many people do we have currently?
7.
So why not just go a full calendar?
We do. We do. I just got to have
No.
Candace
A
go
new
to
person every month?
Shutterfly. Well, no, I mean, I think I would rather go with themes. And the other thing too is everyone gave me pictures, but like I think once we come up with themes, I might reach out to the people individually and say, "Hey, can you take pictures like this?" Because I got a lot of beach pictures, which look cool. Did I send you any of those?
No.
Oh my god!
I don't know.
So
I don't want them.
a lot of people went to the beach and took like their feet in the sand or like the
Sure.
sandals in the sand and all that kind of stuff. It looks really good. And then some people did it in the grass, and then like Jim Jam did them, like
Oh
his
my
like
God, you keep making
costume. And I
names.
think they want to
Stop.
be. I don't think anyone wants to be anonymous. It's cool. Um, so yeah, I think what I might do is hold on to those people, and then when we come up with like a calendar theme, just kind of say, hey guys, let me get this and let me get that. I don't, or we could do. I mean, we'll talk about different options. But yeah, we got about 7 people so far. You know. And that's not including me and you.
I'm not doing this.
You don't
I'm
wanna
not
do
doing
that?
it. No.
Alright.
No. I
Well,
don't
that's
like
the other
feet.
thing too is, like, if I like the idea of making a calendar, but then it's like, I gotta sell the fucking calendar, or I gotta mail the fucking calendar, like, I'd rather try to do something with it online so that I don't have to worry about actually distributing these things. Like, if we just did it on, like, our Instagram or I don't know, do we have a website or something or a Twitter? If we just did, like, a monthly promo. I don't know, we'll figure something out,
We're not
but
promoting. No. If you're doing this, it's going to be in a calendar separate from the show. I know it's the show's logo, but
right, it's like
I
having
don't
separate
like
from the show.
I don't like feet. I don't want to look at them. I
You know,
don't want them on my social media.
I don't like feet either. Like this is not me stoking the fires of my own foot fetish. Like I really don't. Like this isn't just so everyone's clear on that. This was just like a merchandising thing. Like I saw that we were selling footwear and I just thought it would be interesting to make a footwear calendar for people that I don't know. I guess I didn't really think it through. But
I've like dated guys for like extended amounts of time and have never fucking seen their. I mean, they freak me out that bad. I've never seen their feet.
oh,
Won't look at them.
I'm wearing flip-flops right now. I wear
No,
flip-flops
gross. No,
all the time.
and I
Well,
would
I
never
take
look.
care of my feet. I mean, I'm not like
And it's
gross
not that.
toes.
It's not like just gross feet. It's just like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a body horror thing for me. I don't like feet. I think they're weird. I think they look weird. They're kind of almost like hands that you walk on with short fingers. I don't like them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, to a certain
they just
extent,
they just
you
freak me
know,
out. I just don't like them. So I mean, yeah. So I don't want to. I don't want to look at them. I don't want to look at any of them.
I have I have like two perceptions of feet. Either they're okay or they're gross. Like if someone has like gross gnarly feet, that registers on my radar, but otherwise they're just feet. You know what I mean? And like I can appreciate a good pedicure, but like I've never looked at feet and like been attracted to it. Like if I don't watch like fussy porn, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't do anything for me. But like if someone's got
Yeah.
like real nasty, I've seen people with like really nasty hobbit feet with like hairy toe knuckles and like you know you know what I'm talking about.
No.
Like
So mine's even like all done up, pedicure, very nice, very solid feet, looking great, foot tattoos, all that. Still doesn't make a difference to me between that and a fucking fungal infested foot. They're both equally disgusting to me.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
they're
all right.
both gross to me.
Let's not
I don't
talk
know why
about
that is.
yeah.
But it just is that way. I don't know. Maybe something traumatic happened when I was a child. I don't
Yeah,
know.
people say foot fetishes come from like when they're babies and they're like always crawling at their mother's feet or something like that.
Huh,
That's
interesting.
where that comes from is because that's your first like that's how you know that's how you identify people as a child. Some
Maybe
I
I
don't
took
know.
a
I don't know how
fucking
true
boot
that
to
is.
the face or something. I don't know. I just don't like him. It freaks me out. But okay.
Last thing I want to talk about real quick, just quick plug. Thursday, well, if you're listening to the show tomorrow, August 4th, I'll be on a Twitter, or not Twitter. Yeah, Twitter Spaces. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
The Speakeasy Prevents Terror Talk with special guests Chivi's Films. Chivi's Films is my buddy Derek's production company. I've done a lot of work with him. His new movie coming out, Torture the Flesh, it's almost done. I'm a producer on that. I've shot and written and and done boom operators and acted in. And he's another one of my filmmaking buddies. We do tons of stuff together. And me and him and a couple other people from Chivi's are being interviewed on this Twitter Spaces thing. So Thursday night, go on Twitter. You'll see me on it. Stop in the room and say hello. That's it. And it's 8 p.m. Chicago time, Central.
I'm
On
gonna come
Thursday.
crash it.
Please do. Please do. And direct all your questions towards me. Because like Derek, this is like Derek's thing. Like I am definitely second banana to him in this regard, which is fine. You know what I mean? But I mean he's gonna shoot like my 48-hour film for me this year. Like he's gonna be the cinematographer. Like we work on each other's stuff. But this is definitely like his rodeo. And I'm just gonna be at like one of a couple people talking about Chibi stuff. But yes, please crash the room and just direct all your questions specifically towards me. And just
I'm going to every single one. I'd be like, this question's for Pato only.
yeah.
I don't give a shit about what's his name, Derek.
Derek Brash.
Fuck you, Derek. I'm just kidding. Why look at his ass?
Yeah. Be like Pat, when's Tentacles Part 2 coming out? What was
Derek
your motivation?
Sucks.
What was your motivation behind Tentacles? Yeah, man. If you're a fan of the show and you've bought one of the Tentacles Blu-rays at some of our live appearances, he was the guy I made Tentacles with.
Yeah, which they're all gone. All of those are gone. Pato sold a movie for a long time at our booths, and if you didn't buy one, well, too bad, so sad. Now you can't. I've got the last one. Sorry.
Right. I was gonna get more. I went back to the distributor and he's like, "Sure, I could sell them to you at cost for $15 a piece." I was like, "What?"
Oh, fuck that. Yeah.
I was like, I was only selling them for $5 a piece. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not gonna go to our shows and expect to pay fucking $17 or some shit for that. No,
Right.
thank you. I value our fans too much. If you go to our booth and you have $17 to spend, you better be buying a T-shirt.
Sure. Absolutely. Well.
Right.
Anyway, well, my weekend, I watched The Sacrament.
What did you think?
I'll tell you, if I did not know that it was about Jim Jones, then I would have liked it just fine. But because I know that that's what it was about, they took a lot of artistic liberties, and I was like, God damn it, that sucks. Because otherwise, it's a good movie.
Well, they're not supposed to be at Jonestown.
I understand that part, and like I would get that, and like I was talking to somebody else about it too, and that's what they said also, except for the fact that and I know this because like after we recorded our Jonestown episode, I kind of went crazy and I watched like literally every single thing that I could about Jonestown.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know, I became obsessed with it for a minute. And so after that happened, that I did that. But in this film, they fucking straight up ripped lines directly from Jim Jones's mouth. And
yeah, and that dude looks a lot like Jim Jones too.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't look anything like Jim. He looks like
really.
Oh my
John
God,
Goodman.
what's his name? John Goodman. Yes, looks exactly like fucking John Goodman.
Oh, I thought with the glasses, he looked like the picture. I don't know. No. I haven't seen it in a while, but when I compared the pictures of the actor in the movie to the pictures of Jim Jones I saw while researching, they looked a little similar, but maybe not.
I didn't think it looked like him at all. But like I said, if it wasn't for that, then I'd be like, oh, it's a pretty good movie. But because I know that that's what they based it off of, and again, I get it, artistic liberty, sure. It's not a bad movie. It's not badly made at all. It's obviously not like they were trying to go for the found, not found footage. It was kind of found footage, right? It's supposed to be a documentary, like a mockumentary, except like they did a bad job at that mostly because like you could tell that like the camera is not correct, like the camera angles and things like that compared to like where everybody else is, like you can tell that's not right. So it was kind of silly sometimes. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. I suggest people watch it. I'm glad I watched it. I didn't spend any money to watch it. I think it was on Tubi or some shit. So
gotta love the Tubi.
So yeah, I mean, no loss there. It's not $20 on Jurassic World Dominion. So It wasn't terrible. And then Sunday we went swimming, which was, fine or whatever. But my daughter, who is 10, for the first time in her life, got a sunburn
That's very impressive.
for the first time. Well, so my daughter, I'm extremely fair skinned. My daughter is not. She's olive skinned. She's more like her dad. I mean, now granted,
Mm,
he's a white guy. He's got lots of Native American in him. So, she doesn't have that fair skin. So normally she doesn't burn. She never has before in 10 years. So she got a sunburn for the first time ever. And she just doesn't know what to do with herself.
yeah.
And it's like weird to watch this like take place because she doesn't understand that like it's just gonna fucking burn.
Mm,
It's not a whole lot you can do
that
except wait it out. So
I have memories of that, of like just the sunburn on my back and my shoulders where it itched like crazy.
yeah,
And you try to put aloe on, and all it does is make it itch more and more, and it just,
yeah.
oh my god, I'd be going crazy on the convulsing around, and my mom just looking at me like, "What the fuck do you want me to do?" You know?
It's not even like that bad. Like it's not one of those. I mean, I'm sure it's sore. Like, but I mean, I'm more burnt than she is, and but wear your sunscreen. I mean, first of all, the sun makes you old and leathery and ugly, and it's not good for you. And you should wear sunscreen all the time, even if you
No,
don't burn.
I do sunscreen with my kids, but like I'm still like that Irish where like, okay, you just burn the first time you go into the sun. You just burn like in May or something, or like even as far early as March at the Southside Irish Parade. You just burn, and after that first burn, you're good for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how
Yeah.
I'm used to it. You know what I mean? But with
That's
my kids,
yeah.
I do try to avoid that because I can deal with the burn. I don't want to listen to like a screaming in pain child, and then I feel like neglectful as a parent. You know what I mean?
It's like, oh, I should have just put fucking sunscreen on them. Yeah.
Right.
I understand that. Well, it's like I said, it's not good for your skin. You should wear sunscreen, but do which one? You guys are adults, so
Right.
I can tell you what to do. So we did that, and was that my weekend? Is that all I did? Yeah, pretty much. I really didn't do much. Um, I've
Oh,
been
you had a show premiere Sunday night.
I did. I keep forgetting. Oh my gosh. That's right. Monster Radio is still going very strong. Actually, the show that we released on Sunday is a show that we had recorded back when it was a different show. So it's actually a throwback episode, but it is the Black Demon Shark. So if you're interested in gigantic sharks, that is a good one to check out. So definitely check that out. Monster Radio is actually now on all podcasting platforms, so you can
Hmm.
look it up, and it is out there. And we did that. Pato and I recorded the Weird World, a new episode of Weird World, which is out today. Now that you guys are listening to this, it dropped today. So if you're not a Patreon member, I keep saying this. Go subscribe to the Patreon. I mean, what are you even doing with your life? You get all kinds of stuff. You get Weird World. I shared a very personal encounter that I had as a young child. There was also there's some very interesting recorded conversations on there from somebody else. I'm not going to say much more than that. Very exclusive. You definitely don't want to miss out. Tons of other stuff coming up. Pato and I are getting ready to break apart Hellier over in the Patreon. So
Ooh.
you guys don't want to miss that either. Um, I stole this line, but I love it so much. I'm going to use it. If Jim Jones could get 900 people to drink Kool-Aid, I can get 900 people to give me $1. So go to the Patreon, pay my fucking bills, please, and thank you. That would be wonderful. Um, then also, there's a couple of things going on this weekend. I won't be there, and listen, I am extremely depressed that I won't be. But Cryptid Bash 2 is happening this weekend in Morgantown, West Virginia, at the Morgantown Art Party. Go check it out. Tons of great people there with awesome artwork. Just the people in general are great. I know they've got speakers this year. They've really beefed up the game, so go check that out. But there's also a Bigfoot festival happening here in Ohio in Hocking Hills. So if you're not quite in West Virginia, go attend the Bigfoot festival. I can't vouch for it. I've never been to it. I think it's the first one this group has put together, or maybe one of the first. But that should be cool. And yeah, and also another thing I think I forgot to plug. I did an episode. I was on an episode of Our Strange Skies podcast which was great because, first of all, it's a great show. Second of all, it was going over the year 1967 and all of the UFO events that were happening at that time. So it's a great series that the guy did. He did he covered the flat between 1965 and 67. Um, and he did a really good job. I think our episode was like 3 hours long. So,
Wow.
which ended up being the longest, but it's really good stuff. Go check that out. I don't think I have anything else to plug. I always feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, duh, myself. Jeez. On October the 1st, I will be at the Ravenswood Library Mysticon. I will
Hmm.
be one of the speakers there. I'm not entirely sure who else is going to be there yet, to be honest with you. I don't know too much about it. But that is in West Virginia at again, the Ravenswood Library. And October the 8th and 9th, I will also be. This one is kind of an exclusive announcement because it's not fully announced yet. But I'll be speaking both days at an oddities event happening in Pennsylvania. I can't remember where exactly. Monroeville, I think. I don't know, but stay tuned for that if you're in the Pennsylvania area and you want to hear me talk about. I don't know what I'll talk about yet. Probably Mothman. That's what I do. That's what people want to hear about, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'll
Gotta
be
gotta
talking.
play the hits.
Got to play the hits. So I want to address. I want to address something real quick. Um, so recently we got a bad review on Apple Podcast. We got a 1-star review.
Oh my lord.
A 1-star, yeah. And let me tell you something. Don't be that dickhead. Don't leave a 1-star review. Just don't fucking listen to the show, right? Just don't listen to it. But we got a 1-star review because somebody complained that our banter was too lengthy and they didn't care and they just wanted us to get to the topics. And let me tell you something. If you want a podcast that just gets straight into the topics and has no personality, I got a whole list for you. They're out there. Okay. They're out there.
Let's name names.
Right. Right. I mean, this ain't the
I
show for you.
subscribe to a few. And just
Right. They're out there.
just yeah.
And you know what? They're not bad shows for what they're worth. But if we were doing exactly what they were doing, then we would get absolutely nowhere. And whether you, listener, like it or not, people like listening to us talk. That's why they're here, and we can have a good time. Listen, I say some dumb bitch shit. Pato says some dumb bitch shit. We're dumb bitches, but we're also very smart and give very good information because listen, I listen to those other podcasts. And as somebody that does the investigating full time on some of these subjects, people get the shit wrong a lot. So, I mean, if you want the facts, or at least the facts as much as we can give them to you, this is the show to do it. And you're going to fucking listen to how our weekends went before you get there. So that's that. If you aren't here for that kind of talk, skip like 30 minutes into the episode. Like, it ain't that difficult. Just skip to the topic. You're fine. You can do it. It's a show every week. We do it for free. I mean, you're listening to it for free. You paid nothing to be here. So, there's that. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. I mean, I see
It
that we
hasn't
got
been posted yet. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And most of them are 5-star reviews. But here's the problem with the internet is that it gives everybody an equal microphone
It does.
to talk out of. And just because you have an opinion doesn't mean yours is actually worth listening to. And I don't know. I think that taking the time to leave someone a 1-star review tells me that you have an issue with the people themselves. I doubt this is some random person. I think it could be, but it's more likely somebody that we offended and have nothing to do with the podcast. And they're just being a crank. You know
It
what I
could.
mean?
The only other bad reviews we've had were like that. I think there was like one.
The QAnon one, which is fair enough
Yeah.
because I feel like that was something where we could have probably delved a lot deeper into it. And we were just I think we both came to the table with that one with preconceived notions of how that episode was going to play out. And, whatever that was in the past. And, you got one fucking prick that's going to be like, oh, 1-star, you guys talk too much. It's like, well, what are we supposed to be doing here? Juggling? Like it's a fucking podcast. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we should juggle more on the show.
You know what? The whole thing reminded me of. It remind this here we are bantering. Reminds me of when once again when I was at a band and we had we would get notes from like one of the guitar player's parents. He used to come to like the parents would come to every single one of our shows, which was nice. It was nice to have always know that there was friendly faces in the crowd, right? But like then the guy would come into practice and be like, "So my parents said we have to stop covering Hey Jealousy because we're kind of getting bored with that song and it's showing on stage." Or my parents said that we shouldn't drink so much before we play because it's making us look sloppy and unprofessional.
Mm,
Or my parents, and if fine, it's like your 60-year-old parents aren't in this fucking band. We are, right? Like it's
sure,
good to hear advice and feedback, but at the end of the day, you can't just do whatever any random fucking shithead on the internet says, because then you'll be running around chasing your own tail. Like I
sure,
don't know. Yeah, but hey, all I gotta say is next time instead of posting a 1-star review, do it better and send me a link and I'll listen to it. And if it's good, I'll take notes. How about that?
sure. I think that's a lot more. I agree. It's a lot more productive. Here's the thing about it is that we do have a lot of listeners for the show. A lot of you guys listen to the show, and I love the heck out of you. I'll heckle you if you give me money over on Patreon and be mean, but obviously I love all the sport and it's wonderful.
You little pay pigs.
I
Findom 'em.
love me a pay
Findom
pig.
'em. Tell them what they
Love
fucking
me a
are.
pay piggy. Exactly.
Uh,
Um, so, anyway, a lot of people listen to the show. A lot of people also reach out to me directly. I guess you guys don't reach out to Pat O as much. I don't know why. You could reach out to him too.
I
Um,
do, but I'm always like, "Thanks." I'm not
okay, maybe continue to reach out to me because I guess I'm nicer. I will respond, but it is hard. It's hard to do that. And so when I get here and sit with my microphone and talk to you guys and tell you about what I'm up to and things like that, that's my way of being able to connect with you directly. I want to know each and every one of you, right? I do. But
I want
that's
pictures of
hard.
your feet. I mean, that's
Pat
how
wants pictures of your feet.
right?
He wants to know each and every one of you intimately.
Yeah.
Um, I don't. I just wear platonic, but but still, you can pretend that we're more than that by listening to how my weekend was every week on Wednesdays we talk weird podcast. So, um, and I wanted that when I started this. I wanted community, and I love that aspect. I love community, and I like the closeness, and I love when people come to me and say. I love the banter because it makes me feel like having a conversation with two friends. You know why? Because then we meet each other, and guess what? It's just like having a conversation with two friends. It's no
Right.
different. And I fucking live for those moments. So I'm
Oh yeah.
going to continue to have those moments. And I'm going to go ahead and get the fuck off my soapbox now. Pato, anything else before I lead into the news?
Uh Tony Lee is a very good. I consider him a very
Ooh,
good friend of mine. And who is he? Some random asshole that listens to the show that came up to us at a convention, introduced himself. We were wearing the same shoes,
you
and
are.
we've been friends ever since. So yes, don't think that we're unapproachable or that we're. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna
No,
stop.
yeah.
I'm gonna stop talking. Send me pictures of your feet. Buy some slides.
See, this is how feet brought two men together. They had the same feet. That's the story. Okay, well, anyway, I don't have a bunch of news. I did have something I wanted to discuss. Was about these Bigfoot howls caught here in Ohio. We are very popular actually for Bigfoot howls here. There was some really famous recordings caught in Salt Fork Park. I'm having a hard time speaking. That are a couple of years old, but we've had others since then. And if I wasn't a lazy piece of shit, this would be the point in time where I would edit the sound into this and let you guys hear it. But I'm not going to do that. There's a link in the description. As always, you could go check it out. It is very interesting. It's not like a dog, it's not a coyote. We allegedly don't have mountain lions, so it's not that. It's very interesting. And it sounds like there's two of them and they're kind of talking back and forth together. The woman that caught them, she's actually a researcher with the BFRO. She has seen these things allegedly. Well, she had one encounter with a Bigfoot, and then I think her brother-in-law, maybe it was somebody that she's close to at one time, had yelled into the woods at some point and got a response back, but they didn't record that. But they caught these howls. Very interesting. Again, I'll post them in the description. Another really easy way to get access to the news that we talk about here is by, well, again, subscribing to the Patreon, even at the $3 tier or even the donation $1 tier, you get access to the Discord, and I post all of them there. So that's easy. But that's what I had to say. Pat, have you ever heard any Bigfoot vocalizations?
No.
No, you should listen to the Sierra Sounds.
Why?
Because the Sierra Sounds are really famous. They were recorded, I think, in the 1970s by Ron Moorhead, and they are actually kind of hilarious sounding. Like when you first hear them, you're like, "Oh, this is fucking stupid. Like this isn't anything." But when you go and you look at Ron has had this analyzed by the fucking CIA. I mean, he's had it analyzed by everybody, and every single person says a human, nothing known could make that range of sound. It's not possible with the vocal cord structure. Not
I will
possible.
say this: I recently purchased a Remington 870 Fieldmaster. It's a shotgun. It's a very nice shotgun, and I do plan on going hunting this season in the wilds of Indiana and maybe parts of Ohio, definitely Southern Illinois. So maybe I'll have a Bigfoot encounter. Who knows? You
I
know,
hope you have a Bigfoot encounter.
I'm primarily looking for waterfowl, but if I come across a Bigfoot, I'll definitely put some lead in it.
Oh God, I can't condone that, but you do you. That's what I
Right.
say.
Sure.
So that's my news.
I got a story. So, do you know what happened on July 29th, 2022, just a couple days ago?
I do.
What?
No, no, go ahead.
Oh,
The listeners don't know.
the Earth completed its a full spin around in the shortest time ever recorded. July 29th, 2022 was the shortest day in recorded history. It was about 1.59 milliseconds shorter than its standard time frame. So that's notable, and it's something that's not exactly new either. Back in 2020, Earth recorded its shortest month. That was the month of July. It was 1.47 milliseconds under the standard time it would take for a month. So definitely the Earth is speeding up. I mean, it's recordable, it's verifiable. That's not up for debate. The Earth is speeding up, and there's a couple theories why. There's no conclusive proof at the moment, but the leading theories that are doing the rounds are that the pole's weight has seen a drop due to the melting of glaciers. Some also think that the molten core of our planet's interior is moving over time and shifting around. Some other believe that seismic activity could be the reason, and others believe it's because of Chandler's wobble, which is a small deviation in the Earth's geographic poles across the surface. So we're not in danger of flying off into the cosmos anytime soon. You could see some issues with GPS satellites. I was a repo man back when that tsunami hit the Philippines in, I don't know, the mid 2000s or something. And that earthquake was so devastating that it did actually knock Earth kind of off its axis a little bit. And we were one of the first people using GPS. GPS was not commonplace back then. We didn't have phones that had GPS. GPS wasn't in every car. As repo men, we used it because we had to find where we were going in the middle of the night, and we paid extra for it. It was like a service that you would get, right, where you had a device that was in your car and it had a satellite uplink and it was its own kind of thing. And that system was probably knocked offline for about 10 days, a week and a half, because of that earthquake in the Philippines.
Wow.
That's how bad Earth started wobbling. So the fact that we're spinning up now and it's kind of increasing over time is, I don't think it spells doomsday, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on. And if you're one of these doomsday people, you can kind of draw your own conclusions from there. Are the poles about to shift? Is there something going on with the core, like in the movie The Core? Uh, who knows? You ever see that movie? Aaron Eckhart,
Nope.
Stanley Tucci. Everyone thinks Stanley Tucci's a daddy now. But back then, he was just a guy in the movie The Core. Hilary Swank, the next Karate Kid.
Is it a good movie?
It was one of those that came out like how like Deep Impact and Armageddon came out at the same time, or Dante's Peak and like Volcano. You know how movies sometimes
Sure.
come out like back to back like that. There was The Core and there was something else. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, and Core was okay. Aaron Eckhart's always a good time.
Okay.
Harvey Dent. Yeah. All right.
All right. Well,
That's all my
okay.
news. Earth is spinning faster. Days are getting shorter. Nights are getting longer.
Well, this week's topic is one that Pat O has wanted to talk about for a long time. What is so fascinating about the Mongolian deathworm to you, Pat O?
It is the most metal sounding cryptid name of all times. I mean,
Okay.
come on. You know.
Okay. So superficial reasons. That's okay. I'm not
I
knocking
think,
it.
yeah, like I think I just heard it and I was like, is that a thing? And then doing just like a cursory glance at it, you realize that it was the basis for Dune and Beetlejuice
Sure.
and my favorite, Tremors. So it was cool to kind of do a deep dive into it because it doesn't seem like something that would necessarily be made up. You know, it doesn't have that same feel to it like Bigfoot does the Loch Ness monster. For some reason, the Mongolian deathworm like immediately seemed like real and possible to me. Um,
Okay.
why are you laughing at? Oh, I'm the crazy one. Is that what's going on now? This is Laugh at Pat O episode. I'm the fucking crazy one.
Just why
Doctor
is
X. Doctor X finally flipped his lid.
this finally it took you long enough, 100 episodes at least. You know, um, this one is an interesting one because it's been around for a very long time, but there's a lot of people, and probably a lot of people listening to this episode that have never heard of this, or, maybe you've heard the name in passing and you're just like, oh yeah, the death worm thing. And like, you don't really know what the deal is with it. But why is it the most possible one? Because it lives in the sand?
Because I did the research and like these things
Okay.
actually exist all over the United States. Like not to the point there's differences between like that the story that Roy Andrews came out with, you know, in like the 1920s, but there's like these biologically exist in fucking Idaho. Like they found like they're still around. They're just not like these crazy like dune things. You know what I mean?
I
Or like
don't know what you mean because I don't know. I'm very curious to hear what you found on this thing.
okay,
So we'll kind of start at the beginning and then we'll kind of go into
we'll
it.
get
So
there. We'll get there. Yeah.
okay, all right. Wow. Is this opposite day? Um no, okay. I'm very interested. I it's not often that I get to learn on the show, so that's I'm kidding. So the Mongolian deathworm, was, I mean, it's been around. The stories of it have been around for a long time, but it was mostly popularized in 1926 with Roy Chapman Andrews. Went there and he was actually, well, it was offered to, somebody wanted him to find this thing and bring it to them. The Mongolian deathworm is anywhere between 2 feet to 7 feet long, depending on who the hell you ask. It's red in color. It's got like these like spikes on the ends of it. It spits a corrosive acid allegedly at its victims, or if you touch it, it will electrocute you. So obviously, whatever the hell it is not a worm. Many people have been on expedition to look for this thing. I did find this story, which I don't necessarily believe, where allegedly in 1954, a group of American scientists went out to go look for this thing, and then they went missing. And so a search party was conducted, and they found the scientists, but they were all dead, and nobody really knows why they died.
Mhm.
But again, I couldn't find names or really anything else, just that it happened in 1944 and they had left from a particular village or something. It was really hard to to find anything definitive on that. You'd think if a bunch of American scientists died in the Gobi Desert, because again, this is where this all takes place,
Mhm.
um, that we would have some type of record of it, but I couldn't find one. So that, I mean, that's the gist of it. What do you got, Pato?
Well, do you, I mean, so giant earthworms exist. Like
Right.
that we know that biologically worms get that big and even bigger. Um, there's the Oregon giant earthworms, which obviously were found in the state of Oregon several times over the past 85 years. First discovered in 1937. They grow 3 feet in length. Um, there is the giant Palouse, earthworm, which grows to be 15 feet in length, first discovered in 1897 in eastern Washington state, also spotted in Ohio. They thought it was extinct until the 1980s when they started seeing them in Ohio in both 2010 and 2012. So it's kind of like, we talk about cryptids can sometimes just be parts of the biological fucking family tree that like we don't think are there anymore, and then we find out that they are, you know. And I think that's kind of what this is. Now, when you talk about the characteristics of the Mongolian death worm, about how the electricity, it's shooting poison and having spikes around it, you know, maybe some of that is exaggerated. Maybe if something is poison and you touch it, I don't know how, because you got to remember animals, the same type of animal can evolve differently in different environments because it needs to eat, right? Why are some frogs poisonous to the touch? Okay. It's to keep them safe from predators. And in those jungle environments, the frogs that survived and reproduced and populated were the ones that gave off poisonous secretions from their glands. Okay. That's why you have poison frogs in extremely dense forest populations. But if you go down to the creek by your house and there's a frog there, it's probably not going to be poisonous. All right. So the idea that these same type of worms could develop in a hostile environment, the Gobi Desert, and have more aggressive defensive measures makes total sense, biologically speaking. Like, this is something that you would expect an animal to do in that environment, right? And the thing about the Gobi Desert is that, yeah, it's a desert, but it's not incredibly hot, right? It's a desert because of deforestation and dryness. It's very arid, but it's not like it's got like a 60-degree temperature swing sometimes over the course of 24 hours, but like the highest it gets is like in the 80s and 90s, right? And then at nighttime it gets incredibly cold. Okay. But it's not like when you think of like Death Valley in California, right? Where it's like 120 degrees or some shit. That's not the Gobi Desert, you know. So you have an environment, you have a climate where stuff can live. It's not completely inhospitable, but where, yeah, food is going to be scarce, and you could have more like aggressive predatory evolution over time. You know what I mean? Um, so that's why I think it's definitely possible. I think we know that earthworms get this big in other environments. The fact that they could be there and that big is definitely possible. And as far as like, the poison or the electricity, I think is just like, I touched it and it felt like a shock. You know what I mean? I don't think it's shooting lightning bolts and shit.
Like static, like a static shock.
Well, I mean, there's that's a possibility too. Is that, yeah, if it's swimming around underground and in a dry environment, how do you
Yeah.
else do you create static electricity? And then you touch it and it zaps you, or it could be like a neurotoxin to where you touch it, it gets absorbed through your skin, and it feels like you just were electrocuted or something. I don't know, and no one's ever caught one. No, the
Many have
scientists.
tried.
Yeah, and scientists have never seen it, but you know what? The locals fucking swear by them.
They do. Yeah.
And that tells me all I need to know. Because you have a group of Americans that go out there once every 5 years and poke around for 3 fucking days and they don't find anything. Well, then, gee whiz, it must not exist. Or you have the people that for generations have lived on that land, know how to live on that land, know the tricks, know you stay away from these kind of plants, you eat these, whatever. And they say that they're real. I'm believing those people.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know what
Sure.
I mean?
No, that's okay. I don't think it's a ridiculous concept at all. I'll be
No,
honest. You're right.
definitely not.
Some earthworms do get that big, and have you seen those fucking things? They're so gross. I
Oh,
don't
I
like.
know.
I
Yeah.
don't want to touch them. I don't.
No. It looks like an
I don't-
uncircumcised penis just like slithering around. Like,
Well, I prefer uncircumcised penis. I'll be
oh
honest.
my God, are you
Oh,
serious?
1000%. Yeah.
Fucking why?
Oh, yeah. Because they're just superior. I promise.
They're
superior.
this might be our last episode,
I'm
Asher. I
telling
don't know what
you.
what
Uncut dick is superior.
is it,
to
it's
cut
because
dick.
they're funky and like you feel even worse about gnawing on, or what the
You're
fuck
only
is?
funky if you're fucking a funky dude.
Oh my
If they don't
God.
clean their penis and their penis is gross, whether you're cut or uncut.
You just empowered a whole subsection of our listeners right now. that have fucking anteaters that are like, this is, this is probably the best day of their life. I'm not going to rob it from them. Good for you, fellas.
I'm telling you, it's
Literally,
these
good
days.
for you, but literally every other chick that I know says the exact opposite of what she just said. So fucking live with that. You
And the
get Ash.
only reason why they say that is because that's what they're told because we live
Nope,
in America. Yeah, it is.
nope.
And that
Listen,
is what you're bred to believe.
I have a son, and before he was born,
Oh my
I
god.
sat down with a council of hoes and said, "Ladies, what do I do? Do I get him cut or not cut?" And it was unanimous.
And then they
To
haven't had one that's uncut. I'm telling you that right now.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
As somebody that has had lots of dicks in her life, I'm telling you that they are superior. And it's not
It,
even like those dudes that I were with, right, that were uncut were like just really great at sex. They weren't. They were mediocre at sex. It was their dick that did it all. I'm telling you, I promise.
all right. This is the banter that we're getting 1 stars about. Let's fucking get back to Mongolian death worms.
That's
Jesus
true.
fucking Christ.
So anyway, um, so yeah, I think that this is possible. The spiky things on them actually remind me of caterpillars
Okay. Yeah.
because
Well,
caterpillars can have barbs or even like they have the spiky things with like venomous. They can be poisonous. There's caterpillars that will fucking kill you.
right.
Like
And they're going to use these to push themselves through the sand too. Like
right,
if they are like swimming under the sand, like legend has it, like tremor, like the graboids and the tremors. You know what I mean?
yeah, they live in the sand, right? I mean, they buried themselves in the sand. So, yeah, I agree. The locals do seem pretty insistent that these are absolutely real, that you don't want to accidentally touch them because they will fucking shock you or they will spit corrosive acid at you. There have been, well, and that was another thing I really tried hard to dig and find, and maybe I just didn't look in the right place. There's been stories of people dying from these things, with either the corrosive spit or the electric shock. I mean, that's why they call it the Mongolian death worm because it can kill you from a distance. It's very dangerous. Um, so I don't know. And we believe that the translation, and I'm not even going to try to say what the actual name of this thing is. Obviously, Mongolian death worm is an English, it's a white person phrase. But there's obviously the worm part was very mistranslated. So some people think that this could be a type of lizard.
Right, the
Um,
worm lizard, which once
right.
again looks like, I mean, it's kind of in the same, I don't want to say it's in the same family as the earthworm because it's not really, but if you were to look at the two of them, you'd be like, "Oh, okay. They look very similar. They behave very similar."
Right. You wouldn't, I mean, you'd be like, ew, that's a worm, so it
Right.
could, it could be that, could be a type of snake, somehow that was mistaken for this thing. I agree. I think it could be very possible. Worms are fucking weird, dude. Worms are weird. Like, what do you know that can just replicate itself?
Right. That never
Literally,
made sense to me because how does it have two brains? You're cutting it in
how?
half and then the other half just do their thing and
It doesn't really have a brain. That's how I guess. I mean, I don't know. I should have looked that up before we did the show. I really don't understand how that works when you cut the worm in half and it just says like, "Oh, there's two of me now."
because yeah, I mean, the nervous system is just kind of reacting to the stimuli of the environment. So that's all it is. Like they eat out of one den, they eat out of one den, they poop out of the other, and then they just kind of slither around. Like they're not building complex societies or anything.
No.
They're just kind of, it's a ball of instinct, you know. And
They're really odd. Yeah.
right, and they don't have families, they don't have tribes or anything like that. They're just kind of like, I mean, they're not predators in the sense that they prey on other like creatures, but they're predators in the sense that all they really do is eat and shit, and just kind of slither around.
They're
So
useful.
that's why if these things get big enough and they develop complex enough defense mechanisms or, like eating implements or whatever, like, yeah, they could pose a threat to a human being. And that's why I think they're so legendary, is because when you get anything that big, anything over 3 feet is going to give a person a hard time. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Even if it's a bunny rabbit or something, you get a big ass bunny, it could come down on you.
Especially if it's burning fucking or is sending fucking burning spit your way. Like, it's not gonna
Right.
be a good time.
Well, I don't even know if that has, like I said, I just think back about like the poison tree frogs. Like that's something, because as far as like spitting venom goes, like, oh, maybe that's true, maybe that's exaggerated. Same thing with the electrical discharge. I mean, all you got to, like, realistically, just give it barbs and give it poison skin. You know what I mean? Which is totally realistic for something to for a creature to develop to survive in that environment. You know,
But if
and
it's real, I want the acid breath and the electrodes.
is there any creature that spits secretions that corrosive?
No. That
Yeah,
corrosive, no.
that's what I mean. Like that, I don't think that exists. But I mean, poison. There's plenty of poisonous things.
So you can have venom spit at you and it could cause irritation, but it's not gonna burn a fucking hole through your skin.
Right.
Like, I guess unless maybe you didn't ever wash it off ever, you know, then it could, I suppose. But it
Right.
depends
But
on your sensitivity.
then again, you're talking about the Gobi Desert, where like if a species is going to survive in that environment, it can't be fucking around.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be aggressive. It's got to be deadly, or else it's not going to make it. It's not going to last. And just through evolution, you're going to have the most dangerous things develop in that environment. You know,
I had
but
felt like this was a very simple story. So I wanted to just go out of my way and do a little bit of extra research on the Gobi Desert in general.
sure.
Deserts, happen to be very odd places, and the reason for that, you can actually probably listen to a previous episode of ours, which we didn't talk about, but it's because they seem to be liminal spaces.
Mm,
Um,
interesting.
they have that weird, just kind of traveling from one place to another. I mean, you don't really stop at a desert for anything in particular.
Right.
Normally you're just trying to, get in and get the fuck out because you're trying to get to whatever's on the other side. Deserts don't really, there's a lot of bad beliefs behind them because they don't really offer anything good for humans. There's no proper water source. There's really no proper food source. There's no proper shelter. It's just an all around bad place for a human to be caught in is a desert. At least like if you were on a boat or a raft out to sea, you could still potentially have water, or maybe not, but you could have food. You can't really have that with the desert if you're trapped in the desert. So
Mm,
a lot of beliefs, say that deserts are just really bad places and they house, especially the Gobi Desert. There are allegedly ghosts there. People claim to see ghosts all the time, which we know people in the desert tend to see things a lot. They're called mirages. Um, ghouls hang out in deserts, and if you're not familiar with the concept of ghouls, and I don't think we've really talked about it on the show much, but ghouls are kind of the same thing as like the pale crawler, or Wendigo. Even look like ghouls. I mean, they're just weird sickly looking humanoids that eat people or whatever. They just have very interesting lore behind them in general. But this one incident that I found that I thought was odd, I wanted to talk about, is about the Gobi gecko, which allegedly a man was out having a stroll in the desert and he came across a 9 foot tall lizard that was
Jesus.
standing upright. Yeah. And he had a gun with him. He shot at it and it scurried away. And I believe it actually burrowed into the sand and took off. And he swears that's what he saw. Now, what's interesting about that is that, we've kind of talked about those kinds of creatures before, and I'll name drop it again. The Crosswick Monster in Ohio was that. It was like a salamander, but it got
Yeah.
out on 2 legs and ran off. And a whole fucking town saw it. So it's not like that's an isolated thing. Like we haven't seen anything like that before. Now, what the hell is that? Is that some type of supernatural activity, or are there fucking 9 foot tall geckos that learned how to walk on 2 legs? I mean,
I don't think supernatural. I mean, I don't know. Unless I think this, not to give away your Patreon episode, or about the leprechaun and stuff, but like what do these things just kind of move through dimensions, or you talk about like Skinwalker Ranch and stuff where something open up and these things come through sometimes, and that's why these really weird, because
Weird things happen, yeah.
everything should follow every like thing about the Mongolian death worm is that there's aspects of that story that seem far fetched. There's aspects of that story that seem unbelievable, but there's a lot of it that makes sense biologically speaking. Okay,
Sure.
we
Yeah,
know
you
these
can see from
creatures
that.
we know these creatures exist in nature. We have worms much bigger in size right here in the United States. In that environment, it makes sense. There's certain things about it that make sense. There's certain stuff that may just be folklore or whatever. There's plenty of eyewitnesses from locals, all this stuff. Um, and then you get some random one-off story about a 9-foot lizard,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, either there's a whole bunch of them, and one guy ran into it one time on one night. But how do you explain the fact that it looks exactly like something that popped up in the American
Ohio. Yeah,
Midwest? Yeah.
right.
How do you explain that? Well, either they're full of shit, or some weird stuff sometimes appears in different places on this planet, seemingly like not connected places. Stuff that biologically does not make sense. It doesn't make sense for these things to involve in both environments in the same way, unless somehow they're traveling.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets really woo woo, because you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, yeah, these portals open and they hop back and forth between Ohio and the Gobi Desert.
Well,
You
what's the
know?
other explanation? There's a fucking 9 foot tall bipedal lizard. I mean, really?
No, the person's lying. The person in the Gobi Desert's lying.
Sure.
Now
Could be.
The Ohio one maybe, because there's a whole slew of witnesses, so that's a little bit more credible. You know,
Sure. Sure. And I mean, it very well could be that that never happened.
right?
That he just made it up because just because. People lie about things. It happens.
Or it's just two different giant lizards, and there's no connection between the two at all.
Maybe they look completely different.
Right? Because
Yeah,
that's once
there
again,
wasn't a lot of details about this one. Again, I mean, I couldn't find dates. I found the guy's name, but I don't know if this was in the 1800s, if this was in 2000. I don't know. So that's another thing that was, and I'm sure if I dug deep enough, I could find it. But I thought that it was interesting enough to bring up. We'll literally never talk about it in any other episode. So, I thought I'd bring it up now.
okay. I'm
It's-
sure if it had an uncut penis, we never stop talking about it.
Oh my god! I'm not the one that brought up the uncut penises, Pato.
I guess it is my fault. Yeah.
That was you.
Sorry.
See, you brought it up. So I don't know. Mongolian death worm. Sure, why not? Sure.
Yeah, no, it's got my vote definitely. I think, like I said, talk to the locals, believe the locals. The locals say they're there, they're there. Don't listen to some random British scientist some British explorer, who, by the way, that guy, let me pull up his name, Roy Chapman Andrews. He was the inspiration for Indiana Jones. So, and he's from Beloit, Wisconsin. Look at that. I think that's where what's his name is from. Not Tobias, but the other guy that we
Drew.
had on the show.
Drew Schmidt.
No.
Adam.
Yes.
Adam from Pine Parents Institute.
Yes, I believe he's from Beloit. But yeah, Roy Chapman Andrews, who first brought the story of the Mongolian death worm to American audiences, Western audiences, I should say. Yeah, he was the inspiration for Indiana Jones, and did a lot of. He was also the guy to first discover dinosaur eggs, which I think was in the Gobi Desert as well.
Very interesting. Lots of things have been found in the Gobi Desert, actually.
Yeah.
It's got a very rich history, in general.
Yeah, and I honestly think that that's because it's so habitable. Like, it's not like the Sahara.
Right.
It's not like the Mojave Desert. It's rather temperate. People live there. I mean, they're nomads, but there's people that like live in there and just kind of move around following the animals or whatnot. So,
Sure. Well, that one guy was just out walking. I mean, he thought it was good enough to walk. So,
right.
and it is different from like, Other stories, we've got a lot of people from a lot of explorers and scientists or whatever that come from Africa that talk about these ancient animals. We really haven't done any African cryptids. I think we talked about one during the Thunderbirds episode.
Hmm.
But a lot of them are well, we talked about them more during the Dino Cryptids episode. A lot of them are like that. They're very prehistoric, and there's a theory behind it that it is actually racist. That's actually a racial move that people have done to kind of just say that, like, if anything prehistoric is going to exist, it's going to be like, in somewhere like Africa, to make it seem more wild, I guess. But anyway, this doesn't have that same tone to it. Um, this doesn't speak of like a white guy coming back with like crazy claims of something that he found in this weird desert. This definitely speaks more to like it being something that's plausible. And again, the only reason why he got involved in this was because the locals wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
Right.
They wanted him to find a specimen. Like, that was one of his goals there, and he was just flabbergasted. He's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've never seen this thing, but everybody says it's here. I don't know. And again, people have gone over and over again. It's been featured on all kinds of TV shows. But people have gone on expedition to go look for it and they haven't found it yet. Maybe it's not around anymore. You're talking 100 years ago. This guy went down there and was told about it.
Right. Or maybe when you roll up in Jeep Trackers, it fucking scares it off because the rumblings or something. I don't know. I feel like
Sure.
deserts are ecosystems we probably know the least about, just because of the habitat, just because of the environment, right? So like I'm sure you can only spend so much time in a desert environment. Now the Gobi, if you're going to start exploring deserts, Gobi is the way to go because the weather's so climate. Actually, this is the weather like swing for that is that it gets 10 below in the winter with an average of 87 in the summer. Now this is not like some trickery where I'm talking about the fucking Celsius degrees. This is actual Fahrenheit. Negative 10 in the winter and 87 in the summer. Dude, that's more mild climate than Chicago, right? But the thing is that there's not a lot of rain. There's monsoon season up in the north, but there's not a lot of rain. And with the winds, and because there's like, it's just, the temperature could change very quickly too. So it's not necessarily a hospitable environment, but it's not like you couldn't spend some time there if you had to.
I don't know. I've got negative 40 and then upwards of 113 in the summer, which isn't great.
Those might be highs, but I'm talking about averages.
Oh, averages. I see. I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, what's the high? I mean, Chicago's had a high of 113, I'm sure. With
No.
the
No way. You'd know. That'd be big news.
We have. I will look that shit up right now. What's
No
the
way.
highest? Look what the highest temperature ever has been in Dayton, Ohio.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm very curious.
I
Maybe 105.
No way. Well, maybe for you guys. Chicago highest temperature 109 degrees.
109.
Whatever.
Okay.
That's oh no, actually, uh, set in July 14th, 1954, set a record at 117 degrees. So that's even high. Like I'm telling you, this is not a bad place to live.
It's not the worst, right? It's been hotter.
Right? So let's see what the coldest temperature is in Chicago. I guarantee you it's lower than negative 10.
Ours was 111. I looked it up.
So Chicago, and this is 1983. I was fucking 2 years old. Had wind chill of minus 82 degrees. And the,
Oh
the
yeah.
actual temperature was negative 23. That's Chicago in the 80s. So like Gobi Desert's like a fucking vacation. But it's still sand everywhere because it's so dry. And because of deforestation, which is something they're talking about. The Gobi Desert's actually expanding too. It's starting to eat up into Mongolia.
It's the
But
fucking worm.
it's one of those areas too. Like if you look at it, it borders the Himalayas, China, Mongolia. So like you don't got a whole lot of like I guarantee you get like just a random ass group of Americans coming through there once every 20 years. Trying to like nobody's doing like large scale expeditions in there.
Well, no, you gotta have the money to do it. And,
And you
you
have to
know,
the
that's
approval
the
of the government and look at what government you're working with there. And I think Russia's not too far from this either.
I mean, when you go on an expedition, I'm pretty sure just, like, as long as you get into the country, when whatever legal means, like, you don't have to have permission from the government to look for a
Oh
creature.
fuck you! Oh, I think you. So like
Yeah,
that's why you ever hear that like Noah's Ark is like in Turkey on Mount Ararat or whatever,
okay.
like, and they just can't. The government won't let anyone go up there. Like there's satellite images of this thing, and like people are convinced. Some people are convinced that. Oh, did you hear that thing about the Noah's Ark in Kentucky is in a lawsuit against a bunch of people sent me that story this week too. That real life Noah's Ark that me and my family went to over the summer in Kentucky. It's suing its insurance agency because it sustained damages from like rainstorms.
Right.
And so, if it's supposed to be Noah's Ark, it's supposed to be able to sustain that
Well,
shit.
I didn't hear that, but I know that they had damages from flooding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, bro. But
Of course, yeah.
yeah, so there's all kinds of politics where they don't want people coming, like all those like Eastern Bloc countries, like they don't want anyone fucking around in there, even if it's purely scientific stuff. Like, what about I mean, I don't know if we've done an episode on it, but the Latov's Pass or whatever,
Mhm.
where those people disappeared going up the
Mhm.
side of the mountain, and they think that like the Russians killed them or whatever. They think a lot of different things, but you're
Yeah,
only going to get so far. Yeah, you're only going to get so far exploring those areas. I mean, look at us. We can't even go in our own Grand Canyon, you know,
I
because of the
mean,
giants.
I don't know. I think because of the Giants. I think if you did, it'd be televised. I think people would want to know about it. I'll have to look. I mean, some land is protected. Is Gobi Desert part of that? Like, is it protected land? You can't just go dig and research anywhere and everywhere. But I mean, for the most part, most things are free game unless again there's some type of protection in place for it. And usually that protection is just environmental so that people can't fucking, throw up a Walmart on it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm not anywhere near the Gobi Desert, so I didn't plan on investigating anytime soon. But for the most part, you can just go and go hang out in the desert and wait for a worm to appear
I think we should plan like a trip
to the Gobi Desert.
with our listeners. Yeah,
Sure.
where like everyone kicks in. Like, I don't know. We figure out what it costs for the two of us to go, and then we try to find like 10 other goofballs to go with us. I'm sure all the guys will be uncut after this episode.
Oh my God.
Fucking lining them up.
They're going to
Line,
put their foreskin back on.
line up the anteaters for that. Trying to go to Mongolia with you.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
God.
You know my number, 77359 weird.
Or buy a, buy a pair of our slides off the Teespring
Oh
website
my
and
god.
take a
Don't do
picture of
that.
your.
Of your uncut dick in the slide. Yeah. That's a good
Hey, at
idea.
least it won't be a foot. You know what I mean?
That's
Jeez.
true. That's true. Much more pleasing to look at. Um they look the same when they're hard. They like any other penis. It's when they're soft that they look weird, and they do look weird, but
I'm sure you've never seen a soft dick in your life. Are you kidding?
we'll save that one for the Patreon. Um I'll tell you about exactly all 3 times that has happened. But
I'm sorry. They just come out of the box looking hard as the day is long. I don't.
first time I saw one, I was like, "What is that? Is it broken?"
Jeez.
Anyway, what about I want to go back to this.
Sure.
What about if it was a caterpillar? A giant fucking caterpillar.
Right. Well, I don't know. They have little faces on them, don't they? But no, they have little like mandibles. Actually, yeah, I could buy that.
Yeah. I mean, if it was just a big, and maybe it's not 7 feet long, right? Maybe it's like a foot, right? We know people suck at measuring things.
A foot is more than I mean, we
That's
have
huge.
yeah, worms in Idaho are 15 feet. Earthworms in Idaho are 15 feet long. Like, if you're talking about anything shorter than that, then I think it's definitely possible.
Well, I mean, and a caterpillar is not. It's totally different from a worm. I mean, we have big. We got big old caterpillars.
Right.
Those do exist. Not quite that big. I mean, a foot for a caterpillar. A caterpillar would be significant. And then you'd have to think about what is it that caterpillar turns into?
Mothra.
Mothra. Yep.
Yeah.
And we know Mothra is real. I've seen it on TV. So.
Wow.
you know. So.
Giant caterpillar. Oh, here we go. Mongolian deathworms turn into thunderbirds.
It could be.
How cool would that be? Or what was I was listening to the little person Patreon today, and you were like rattling off like I've seen fucking UFOs and Mothman and Thunder Crows, and I was like,
Yeah.
Thunder Crows, what the fuck? Now I remember the story, but at the time, the way you just slipped it into the laundry list of the paranormal that you come up against, now I include uncut dicks on that too. But like, I was like, God damn, she's out here wrestling with Thunder Crows.
Thundercrow. You never heard that term?
I know. I remember the story. I know. I never heard that term, but I
Yeah, that's what
remember.
they're
I remember what you're
called.
talking about. It was on like the light pole or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they're called. They're just giant crows.
Jeez.
And that's what they're called, thunder crows. So it could be Mongolian deathworms turned into thunder crows or Mothmen or Mothra or
Oh
you know,
wow!
I'm
Now
just
we're going
saying.
down the rabbit hole.
They got Mothmen over there. They call them something else, but they got Mothmen over there. So, I mean, I'm just saying, what if it is a caterpillar? To me, when I look at it, or I think about the description and what people do, it sounds more like a caterpillar.
And it would make sense because, like you said, these things were spotted like 100 years ago and haven't been seen since. So maybe it
Right.
finally finished its gestation period in the 50s or 60s or whatever, and then flew over to Pennsylvania.
Well, look at fucking cicadas, dude. They only emerge. Look at the one cicadas. You've got different broods of cicada that only emerge every so many years. So what are they doing during like the 7 year broods, right? They are in the ground for 7 years. They live underground.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally they cocoon or whatever, and it's not like them as a full cicada. It's like the caterpillar version, the larva version, and then they cocoon and then they come out a cicada. So maybe that's what the Mongolian deathworms do. So then they start surfacing a little bit more. We see a little bit more of them. That's where people are getting the sightings, and then they cocoon and then they come out as Mothra.
Right.
Or whatever. Who knows? Maybe I'll look more into weird flying creatures in the area and see what I find. Because I mean, why wouldn't they? Like I said again, I'm just sold on that. To me, it looks like a caterpillar.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
That's what it looks like, and I can believe in venom spitting caterpillars with that. You're right. Maybe aren't electric. Maybe they're not electrically shocking people, but some type of delivering some type of venom through those barbs, because caterpillars do that shit. So
Right.
that's what I think. That's my final word on it. It's a caterpillar.
Narratively, I like that because it sets up a transformation into something else. So just if you thought the Mongolian deathworms were fierce wits, you see what they actually metamorphose into.
Yes.
Wow. See, we're
Yeah.
writing the movie right now.
And they only emerge every so many years.
Right.
Like the fucking creeper from Jeepers Creepers. That's what it turns into.
Don't bring up that movie.
Because the director's a pedophile.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Fuck that movie. But I mean, the monster was cool. I don't know. No, I don't stand the Jeepers Creepers guy or movie or whatever. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think that it could be instead of a worm or a snake or some type of legless lizard? Do you think that it could be a caterpillar? Maybe it turns into the fucking 9 foot tall lizard.
Send us pictures of your uncut dick.
Send Pat O pictures of your.
No,
I don't want.
send them to the
I don't want
Twitter
pictures.
page.
I don't want to see anybody's penis.
We'll do ratings. You want to start?
I'll tell you
Open
this.
up a whole other revenue stream. Rating uncut Johnsons.
I'm gonna tell you, women don't like to see penises. They don't like getting pictures of penises unless they ask for them, and then it's just a power play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we don't like to see your dick. We don't want
Yeah.
to see it unless we ask for it. But like I said, again, then it's just a power move. It's just proving that you'll do it. You were dumb enough to do this. I'm going to send it to your mother.
No, I've never, and not that I'm like I realized like I have female friends, so like that's something that I think I probably learned 20 years ago, is that no, it's not the same, guys. It's not the same. It's not the same. You wish it was the same. You wish that you could make them as happy as they make you when they send the pictures of boobs. It's not the same. They don't want to see
Because
it. They don't care. It doesn't photograph well. It's just leave it alone.
you're right. Because let me tell you something. Women, straight women, all right, and I'm not a straight woman, right? But I'm friends with lots of women and straight women. Straight women want to see other women.
Right. Women
Women,
are just more photogenic. Like
right? They're
it's just,
beautiful. Yes,
yes, I agree.
they're beautiful, and we can appreciate that. We can
Brunettes
go,
are. I
oh
don't know
my
about
god,
blondes. Blondes are kind of evil.
Jesus. Pat's never gonna let that one go.
No.
But women are beautiful. But then we get pictures of dicks and we're like, ugh. Unless it's like it's not our dick, like our dick, but like if it's one of ours, we're like, oh yeah, look at this. Then we'll show our friends and be like, look, that's mine. Um, or like I said, it's a power play just to see if he'll do it. And then we all kind of laugh and we're like, oh my god, he actually did it. I like to step up my game though. Don't send me pictures unless you're shoving something up your butt. Won't do it. Won't do it.
You want to impress her? Don't impress her with the size of your dick.
No.
Impress her with the size of the
Of the
fucking
hole. Yeah.
flashlight you're sticking up your ass.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And listen, it better not be like a pin or something. I'm talking like it better be something.
Traffic cone.
It needs to be bigger than your dick. Yeah.
God.
I gotta stop. Oh my gosh, this has turned into a very
I mean, honestly, do you have any idea the lawsuits you could be opening us up for with like all the fucking prolapse anuses that are going to happen this week?
That's not my fault.
Once the show drops. Yes, we have the disclaimer. We are not actually telling you
No.
No. She's not
No.
encouraging you. She's not promising you affection. If
No.
you, yeah.
No, if you send me pictures of you sticking things up your butthole, I'm gonna show them to my boyfriend. We're gonna laugh at you. Yeah, don't actually do that. But I'm gonna show it to everybody actually. And like I said, I will send it to your mother. So I will. I'll send it to your boss, whoever I can find to send it to. I will.
She's gonna go on LinkedIn. Like that's
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll find you. Yeah, I will find you, and I will find out everybody in your life that you hold dear, and I'll send it to everyone.
Oh my god.
So that's the kind of person that I am. If you send me unsolicited nudes, all you gotta do is ask, right? All you gotta do is be like, "Hey, can I show you
Or
this?"
join the Patreon. You know what? We should modify it. You should
So-
put a Patreon tier for like free dick ratings or something.
That's not a bad idea, actually, because people, I get requests for those all the time.
Ratings?
Yeah, just
Ratings? Oh
Oh, yeah.
my god, dude! I am so embarrassed to be a guy sometimes. Seriously,
I think you mentioned this last episode.
I think so too. I think so too because it just baffles me. I don't know.
I'm telling you, they're into it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll add it to the Patreon. We'll see. Right, at least pay me to waste my time. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Add it to that phone call tier. That's what the phone call will be. is me laughing about how small your cock is. Cuck.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. All right. Well, of course, we can't fucking be adults and do an episode about a worm without talking about dicks. So,
Right. Especially on an episode where we're trying to come back on the banter. Like that went real fucking well. Sorry.
Well, that's what you get for bitching. I mean,
right.
That's the price you pay. An episode. We should just call it Mongolian death dicks and leave it at that. Then at least they know what they're getting themselves into and they listen to it. But too late. You're already here. I hope you had a wonderful time. Go subscribe to the Patreon. Check out the newest episode of Weird World. I promise there's less dick over there. I think there was less dick in the episode where we talked about you shooting gay porn than there was in this episode. So
oh my god, I forgot about that one.
It's over there. It's over in the Patreon.
Yeah.
So go check that out. That's it. We'll see you guys back here next Wednesday.